Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. This is a market update on Tuesday, the 21st of October. And as usual, there's tons to chat about. So let's just dive straight into the charts. And of course, my favorite chart, that is the Bloomberg World Equity Index. I want you just to follow my pointer because this is just daily price action in Europe on Tuesday morning. Not too much going on, but this actually belies a much bigger and deeper move in equities. Now, if we just go up, we can see the equities had a really strong start on Monday in the US. Really recovered very strongly. That was after the volatility from last week. Now, what we're seeing is a bit of a lack of direction in Europe, and we expect that to filter into the US later today as well, as various themes emerge. But overall, have got a bit of a lack of direction for two reasons. Number one, it's a massive 2 weeks now for earnings season. We also get the start of tech earnings season. Now, you will have, if you follow my research, you will have noticed that I sent something out about Netflix and Tesla who are releasing today. So they're going to be real key things. So Netflix releases results tonight on Tuesday, and Tesla releases their results on Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But for now, we're waiting for earnings results. We're also waiting for the US CPI. Now, that has been delayed, that release. It's been delayed because of the government shutdown. We still don't have employment labor market data, for example, but we are going to get the CPI at the end of this week. And that's going to be really critical ahead of the Fed meeting next week, where they are expected to cut interest rates. So it's whether or not that gives them the green light to do it and what it says about where inflation is at and where the US economy is at, really. But if we just take a quick look elsewhere, so as you can see, stock markets had bounced really sharply on Monday, but they're really losing that momentum as we wait for those key drivers. Investors are just stepping back just a little bit on Tuesday. Now, this is bond markets, the 10-year yield. What do I want to show you this for? This is because this is in the United States. If you just follow my pointer here, the US 10-year Treasury yield has fallen below 4%. Now, that should be bearish for the US dollar, but we'll find out why it isn't. But overall, we're seeing, as usual, you've got an increase in UK yields compared to everywhere else. That's because our Bank of England is not cutting as fast as the Fed and the ECB, but we've seen by and large over the last 3 months a big decline in UK yields. So UK yields have really moved alongside not European yields, but more like US yields. Maybe haven't dropped as much, but they certainly have fallen, and that's why we've just seen a bit of a pillar of support there for the pound has been lost. But all good for borrowing costs, right? Now, the other big move that we want to point out on Tuesday is what's going on with precious metals. So again, follow my pointer. We had seen a move above 4,300 excuse me, earlier this week. Now that has fallen, and we've seen a near $100 decline in the gold price on Tuesday. We've seen a more than 4% decline in the silver price, for instance. This still, if we just follow my pointer over to the right here, as you can see, we've still got massive increases on the yearly basis for both of these precious metals. 62% year-to-date gain for gold, more than 70% year-to-date gain for silver. But they are experiencing a bit of a correction. Now, if I just show you the gold spot price, the blue candle is when it's moved lower. So as you can see, it's not a deep correction by any means. We're comfortably above $4,200. We don't necessarily see us falling below that level either, but it is a bit of a correction. And one of the reasons is that valuations have become stretched on the upside. Now, if you follow my pointer on this chart, the pink line here is the 50-day moving average. Now, that's a sign of short-term momentum. If I tell you that that is $900 below the gold price, the spot gold price, that is very unusual. So it's like a 15% gold price to the upside is 15% above the 50-day moving average, suggests that maybe the rise in gold got too fast. That doesn't mean that gold price is going to fall below $4,000 anytime soon, but it does mean that there could be a bit of a shakeout. Now, a shakeout in a market, especially when you've had this like almost parabolic uptrend in gold, is very normal. It's actually a sign of a very healthy market because it shows that investors don't want to get too far ahead of themselves. Now, if we just go to silver price, we're seeing a similar drop in prices. Now, this isn't the spot price of silver. This is the 1-day percent change. And I wanted to show you this because at one point we had fallen by 5% in the silver price, which is the biggest daily drop since April. So since that, all that tariff-related turmoil back in April. So this is a significant move to the downside. However, we still see silver as being in demand, partly because it's still above $50 per ounce, as you can see here. Secondly, because it's really an integral metal for chips. that are powering this AI revolution that we're experiencing, and we don't see that ending anytime soon. Chip demand is expected to be very, very strong, certainly over the next 12 months, and that will power the price of silver. Also, silver does tend to be a bit more volatile than gold, so that's why we're seeing this kind of very big sell-off in the silver price. So down 5% at one point, has recouped a few some gains, but this is kind of part of what we would expect of a correction for the gold price. Obviously, the risk is that it could weigh on the FTSE 100. Let's just take a look there. FTSE 100 is again in consolidation mode. Why would the gold and silver price declines weigh on the FTSE 100? That's because the gold miners in the FTSE 100 have really powered the UK index this year with Fresnillo and Endeavour Mining. Endeavour is up more than 200% year to date. Fresnillo is up more than 130% year to date. So they've really been powered by the miners. So if the gold price does experience a slightly more prolonged sell-off, then we could see some weakness across the FTSE 100 index, but that's actually not what's happening. We are managing to eke out again, even though we have seen sharp losses in the gold miners. Now, one thing that's worth noting as well, that this is the dollar index chart. As you can see, I wouldn't call it an uptrend, but we're certainly managing to maintain, stay above support, which is these above these moving moving averages. So as you can see, we are making a series of higher lows, which is the start of an uptrend, but we're going to wait and see on that, because as I mentioned with the bonds, we have fallen below that 4% level in the 10-year treasury yield, but the dollar is still gaining. Now that suggests a bit of risk-off tone to overall markets, and we have seen that a little bit more volatility creep into markets recently, but we are looking for a move back to 100 in the dollar index, in the spot dollar index, so that's something worth watching. And then if we just look at this is the dollar against its G10 counterparts from the start of this month. There has been, the dollar is making gains against 9 out of the 10 G10 currencies. So the Swiss franc is the only one that's getting a bit of a upside on the US dollar. Everything else is weaker, especially the Japanese yen. That's largely because Japan has got a new prime minister, the first woman prime minister, and she is not very keen on rate hikes. So she's expected to cut taxes and call for lower interest rates. So to keep interest rates very low in Japan. So that's why the yen is coming under some pressure there. But I did just want to very briefly just talk through the tech earnings that we are looking forward to this week. We'll get, again, the next 2 weeks, really, really important for earnings that could really drive stock market and overall market sentiment, really. This is Netflix. Netflix is expected to report 11.5 billion in revenue for last quarter and 3.03 billion in net income or profits. We are expecting them to report good results and to suggest that 2025 revenue is on track for an increase of 17% year to date. So we're not expecting any surprises. We do think that they'll probably rule out buying Warner Brothers, which could weigh on Warner Brothers stock. That's been one of the top performing stocks on the S&P 500 so far in 2025. But overall, yes, net income, so profits are expected to come in slightly lower than Q2, but that's because they've got this really strong slate of content. So for example, all those K-dramas, we've got Squid Games, the latest season of Squid Games, we've got K-pop Demon Hunters, and we've also got Wednesday, so that's obviously not a K-drama, but the Wednesday series has done really, really well as well. So that's expected to keep solid subscriber growth going on there. Strong advertising revenue as people opt for the cheaper subscription levels, but they're able to monetize that with advertising revenue as well. So looking for a lot of good things from these earnings reports. I do think that if they do rule out buying Warner Brothers, we could see a little bit of an uptick in the Netflix share price, which is up about 30% year to date, but it could weigh very heavily on Warner Brothers. And then on Tesla, we've got Tesla earnings on Wednesday night. They're expected to have a stunning quarter. Tesla is 26.2 billion in revenues, 1.9 billion in net income or profit for the third quarter. That's much better than the second quarter. However, there's going to be a lot of front loading into the third quarter. So we saw that they delivered a record number of vehicles in the US. That's before a EV subsidy expired. So President Trump has scrapped some EV subsidies. So people will have rushed to buy their Teslas. One thing where Tesla could do really well is in their battery dominance. They really are the biggest battery maker in the US and sell the most batteries compared to anyone else by about 3 times over. So in that kind of energy storage unit battery space, they're doing really, really well. Also, look out for anything about the robo-taxi. subsidy. There's a lot of expectation that's going to drive revenues for the next into the next decade, really. We want to hear more about it, also about the new model, which is hoping to mitigate some of the weakness in sales later on in Q4 and also into 2026, caused by the expiration of the EV subsidy. So that's going to be really, really important. But overall, a very big week for financial markets. We are waiting on some new drivers, and we are hoping that we get the CPI report and that maybe we'll get some employment data at some point as well. But until then, we're really being driven by optimism over earnings. But that's why markets have pressed pause. We're going to be watching as well what gold and silver do. But overall, very, very exciting few days for markets. Thanks for joining.